Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to Chapter 19. We're doing the survey of animals. We're doing specifically now the survey of vertebrates. Domain Eukarya, Kingdom Animalia, Phylum Chordata, Subphylum Vertebrata. Within Subphylum Vertebrata, we've talked about the jawless fishes, the agnathans. We talked about the cartilaginous fishes, the chondrichthyans. Now it's time to talk about bony fishes, class osteichthyes. Class osteichthyes, and remember, how many species of vertebrates are there? There are 60,000 species of vertebrates, and half of them are fish. We've talked about that there's about 120 species of agnathans, there's about 1,000 species of sharks, skates and rays, but mostly sharks. And now we've got 28,000. That's kind of an old number. It's actually closer to 30,000 now. We'll stick with 28,000, but it's closer to 30,000. Remember, we're finding new species all the time. We found at least another 1,000 species of bony fishes since I wrote this about 5 years ago. $60,000 species of vertebrates, half of them are fish. About 28,000 species of bony fishes, class osteichthyes. They're both marine and freshwater, though to be fair, they're mostly marine because, well, the ocean, the planet is mostly ocean. Remember, 75% of the planet is ocean, so most fish are in the ocean, and fewer fishes are in freshwater. All right, so, but they are freshwater. Bony fish have swim bladders. They have operculum. We talked about that operculum. Remember the gill cover? Its proper name is an operculum. They have an operculum, and as the name bony fish implies, they have skeletons made of bone. We have two groups of bony fishes. The first group are the lobe-finned fishes, which means, they've got lobes on their fins. There are not that many species of lobe-finned fishes. There's only about 4 species of them. That might be 5 now. The first one is a coelacanth. We'll look at a coelacanth in a little bit. And the other one are species of lungfish. There's an Australian, an African, and an Asian lungfish. As the name lungfish implies, these are fishes with lungs. Interesting side note, doesn't mean anything, but it's fun. That swim bladder structure that we talked about that bony fish have, it's a gas bag inside the body. What are your gas bags inside your body? Well, your lungs are kind of like a bag full of gas, right? Oh, well, I bet lungs came from a swim bladder. And no, swim bladders came from lungs. The first structure were lungs that fish use literally to breathe air. And then that got turned into a swim bladder later on. Kind of backwards, what you think it would be. Isn't that weird? Isn't that wild? Our other group of fish, of bony fishes, are the ray-finned fishes. And the ray-finned fishes are so-called modern fish. If we went around the room and we had everyone name a different species of fish for an hour, everything we would name, if it wasn't a shark, would be a modern fish, a ray-finned fish. Here we see a stereotypical fish. We can see those gills. We see the swim bladder, this structure inside. Here's that operculum, that gill cover that hides the gills, protects the gills, honestly. There's that vertebral column. Within that vertebral column is the spinal cord. We have a post-anal tail. There's the anus, here's the tail. This is a normal fish. Notice how the fin attaches directly to the body, and there's no big lobe of flesh attaching the fin to the body. You see that? All right. These are lobe-finned fishes. Let's look at this picture of a coelacanth up here because it's a bit more descriptive for us. Notice this big, meaty piece of bone that the fin attaches to. All of these fins have a big lobe, a lobe full of muscle and bone that attaches the fin to the body. Look at the tail. Isn't the tail, is it a bit too fleshy? Is it a bit too meaty? Shouldn't there be a lot more, fin in the tail fin than just this little ridge? Well, that's because these are lobe-finned fishes. Lobe-finned fishes are more closely related to vertebrates. To terrestrial vertebrates, so-called quadrupeds, tetrapods, 4 feet. And you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4 fins. We can see it on this lungfish right here. The fins, don't those kind of look like placed exactly where they would be if they were legs? We can see them here too. Here's this lobe fin. There's one fin there and one fin here. Aren't they placed kind of where you would expect legs to be? These are the animals, this group of fishes. The animal that gave rise to tetrapods were related to these fishes, these lobe-finned fishes. If we move on from the lobe-finned fishes, again, how many species of lobe-finned fishes were there? 4. How many species of modern fish? How many species of bony fish are there? 28,000. So if there's 4 lobe-finned fishes, then how many species of bony fishes, of ray-finned fishes are there? You know what? Let's just keep calling it 28,000 because it doesn't really matter. Half of all living things on the planet are these things. This is, what is this? It's a girl. It's a woman. What is this? This is a tuna. You know tuna fish? In your little can, you mix it with some mayonnaise and some salt and pickles and you put it on a cracker. Tuna fish salad, this is a tuna fish. All right, do you have any idea? Did you have any idea that tuna were so darn big? Look at it. Bigger, larger than this woman. To be fair, it's an Asian woman and they tend to be small. But still, it's an adult person. And the fish is larger than she is. This is a lionfish. The reason why I like this picture specifically is, do you see that there's no bony, fleshy lobes attaching these fins to the animal's body? See that? See the rays? The ray-finned fishes? There's no bone, no muscle that attaches those fins to the body. There are muscles attached to those fins, but they're all in the body. They're not extending out from the body. This is a stonefish, and again, we can see those rays in the fins really well. I'm not sure if you can see it from where you are, but there's, again, more fins sticking up like this. What is that thing? What does it kind of look like? Well, it sort of looks a little bit like a seahorse. What kind of animal is a seahorse? Is it a horse? No. A seahorse is just a fish. It's a really special fish. It's a really oddly shaped fish. But seahorses are just a group of fish. This is specifically called a sea dragon, but it is a relative of a seahorse. And imagine if that thing was actually hiding in some seaweed. Do you think you'd ever see that thing? If it's just floating in some drifting seaweed? And that's exactly why it looks like that. It looks like that so it can't be seen either by predator or by prey, so they can eat. Kind of cool, sea dragons. Those were all marine fish. This is the largest bony fish. It's called the ocean sunfish. These animals are actually pretty darn big. Do yourself a favor and go do a Google search for ocean sunfish. They're really, really large. This can be like 10 feet from top to bottom right here, not including the fins, and like 20 feet long. Huge, huge fish. What is the biggest fish, though? Whale? Whales are not fish. Whales are mammals. The biggest fish is the whale shark. Sharks are fish. Why is it not included in this group, though? Well, what group is this? This is the bony fish, and sharks are cartilage fish. These are freshwater fishes. A bass, a sunfish, really, really pretty sunfish. Those poor goldfish, they have been selectively bred to just be useless. I feel so bad for those things. They just look like they're just in pain all the time. Anyway, the class osteichthyes.